With regard to the tragic killing of Aysenur, I think what we saw of this investigation is it seems to show what eyewitnesses have said and made clear, that her killing was both unprovoked and unjustified. No one should be shot and killed for attending a protest. In our judgment, Israeli security forces need to make some fundamental changes in the way that they operate in the West Bank, including changes to their rules of engagement.
Well, they won't, and there will be no consequences for refusing to do so. But what you just heard was Secretary of State Antony Blinken promising to send a strongly worded letter to the Israeli government over the killing of an American Turkish activist who was killed by IDF forces in the West Bank just last week. It is indeed a tragic story. She was with a group known as International Solidarity Movement, and she is now the third individual with this group that has been killed by IDF soldiers. In fact, there was another American activist who was killed by the IDF as she was part of this group back in 2003. Now, the 26-year-old that we're talking about right now, Aysenur Uygur, was demonstrating against Israeli settlers in a town near Nablus when she was shot in the head. Now, the American government is sort of speaking out now that Israel has taken responsibility for the killing, although they claim that it was an accident, that a sniper accidentally shot her in the head. We'll get to that in just a moment. But today, the IDF wrote in a statement, the inquiry found that it is highly likely that Uygur was hit indirectly and unintentionally by IDF fire, which was not aimed at her, but aimed at the key instigator of the riot. The incident took place during a violent riot in which dozens of Palestinian suspects burned tires and hurled rocks towards security forces at the Baida Junction. The IDF expresses its deepest regret over the death of Aysenur Uygur.
It has no regret whatsoever. Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Blinken was asked about this, and I do want to give you a little more from his press conference in London, and then I want to hear what you think, Cenk. Let's watch.
We've long seen reports of the security forces looking the other way when extremist settlers use violence against Palestinians. We've seen reports of excessive force by Israeli security forces against Palestinians. And now we have the second American citizen killed at the hands of Israeli security forces. It's not acceptable. It has to change. And we'll be making that clear to the senior-most members of the Israeli government. Now, we're looking carefully at the results of this investigation, but even on an initial read, and even accepting it at face value, it's clear that there are serious issues that need to be dealt with.
Well, Uygur's family heard that statement and they were not pleased with it. They do not feel that the US government is doing enough, and they want a full independent investigation into this. By the way, the Biden administration has released a new statement on it, as reported by Barak Ravid over at Axios. And he says that Biden says the death of US citizen Aysenur Uygur in the West Bank from IDF fire apparently was an accident and a result of a bullet that hit the ground and ricocheted.
No, the total lie. Biden is 100% lying. God, all right. So first, let's break down the facts, guys. So as Anna alluded to earlier, it was a sniper. But get a load of this. The protests had already ended, and again, this is Israeli protesters who had joined the protests, good guys, who were recounting this, because I know a Muslim Palestinian would never be believed, but there were actually Israelis on the ground who said, no, the IDF is definitely lying, and here's what actually happened. So protest is already over half an hour ago. They retreat hundreds of yards away. That's why it's a sniper. And the sniper then hits the American in the head. And then the IDF first says, we meant to, as you saw, we meant to hit the instigator. First of all, that would be an extrajudicial killing. The protest is over. There are no stones being thrown. It's been over for a long time. And so IDF is there saying, oh, we meant to murder someone. We meant to execute someone in a way that is completely illegal under international law. And by the way, apparently, is it illegal under Israeli law? I'm not sure. Because apparently if it's a Palestinian or Muslim or Christian, Arab, that's it. You can, Israel, are you allowed to murder people who aren't Israeli or American? It seems like the overwhelming answer is yes. And by the way, so if you're not an Israeli and even if you're an American now, it's open seasons. That's the second time in the last couple of years, Shireen Abu Akleh, an American journalist, is the other, where an Israeli sniper murdered them in cold blood, assassinated them. So apparently Americans are not safe anymore.
Nope. Well,
again, even in the Israelis, remember they killed their own hostages because they were in a kill zone. So the IDF will murder anything, but we sent them a strongly worded response. Which then, now the next layer that's enraging is Biden going above and beyond and coming out with an outrageous lie that the IDF isn't initially even saying.
Exactly.
Now Biden made up that it ricocheted off Iraq. Biden is basically Israel's publicist, and he drives the getaway car. He's like, load up the 26 billion of American tax dollars. Come on. I gotta get it to my friends in Israel. They already gave me the $11 million, so I gotta give them 26 billion back. That's how corruption works. So, they murdered another American. Who cares? Let's pretend it ricocheted off Iraq. Let's pretend this, let's pretend that. Let's pretend they're doing a real investigation. And then we'll send that joker, Antony Blinken, out to say that it's not acceptable. And then get a load of this. Right afterwards, we'll accept it. So not acceptable means I'm not sending you the money anymore. That's what not acceptable is.
And that's not at all even being discussed or considered.
Not discussed. Instead, more words have been sent in to the top levels of the Israeli government. We're dissatisfied. If you murder 20 or 40 more Americans, we might even send stronger words. Wow. Look, guys, this is not arguable. Even if you love Israel and think that they should be allowed to murder anyone they like, why do we have to pay them $26 billion to not only kill over 40,000 Palestinians, but to have their snipers execute several Americans? We're to pay them to murder American citizens? No other ally would be allowed to do this. None, zero. Jordan couldn't do it. Even Saudi Arabia might not be able to do it. Canada couldn't do it. But Israel, murder any Americans you like, the check's in the mail. That's a fact. That's an absolute stone cold fact. You can have opinions like, oh yeah, that's great, we should do that. No, I don't like that, we shouldn't do that. But you can't argue that they're not murdering American citizens, they are. And you can't argue that we're not rewarding them by sending them a preposterous, gargantuan $26 billion in the middle of slaughtering Gaza, let alone the Americans.
And the West Bank. Now remember, the Israeli sniper took out an American citizen in the West Bank. That's what we're talking about here. And as we've talked about in regard to Gaza, at this point, very likely more than 40,000 people in Gaza have been killed as a result of the IDF's war against Palestinians there. And I should note in regard to the West Bank, Israeli troops and settlers have killed 692 Palestinians, including 158 children. And again, this is in the occupied West Bank and occupied East Jerusalem since October. And that's according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Ramallah. Now look, you have Americans calling out this belligerent Israeli government for killing our fellow Americans. You have Palestinians, of course, calling out the Israeli government for killing innocent Palestinian civilians, not only in Gaza, but in the West Bank. But you also have some Israelis calling out the Israeli government for getting Israelis killed. And when it comes to the hostages, I really do want to give some of the hostage family members a voice here, because the father of a hostage killed by Hamas while in captivity decided to confront Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, on this issue. This was at the Shiva for his son. His name is Elhanan Danino. His 25-year-old son, Ori, was recently murdered alongside 5 other hostages, and he had some strong words for Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's watch.
תפסיקו להתעסק בשטויות ולחרחר ריב ומדון. תסגור בבקשה את הלשכה שלך 10 דקות עם עצמך ביום ותחשוב איפה הערך היהודי שאתה מביא. תתבודד אתה עם בורך ותחשוב איפה הקדוש ברוך הוא בתמונה שלך, איפה הערך היהודי שאתה מביא. האסון הזה קרה בגלל הפילוג והפירוד שהיה, ואל תתעסקו בפוליטיקות קטנות וזולות. אני פונה מפה בשביל האחרים שנשארו שם. השם ירחם עליי, זיכה אותי לנס שהבן שלי קבור בהר הקודש בעיר הקודש. אני צריך לחשוב על נס, לקבור גופה שלמה, נהיה נס? לאיזה מצב הבאתם אותנו? תפסיקו עם ספינים, אתה מנהיג. נבחרת, נשלחת, להנהיג. תפסיקו להתעסק בלאסוף מנדטים, ולהתעסק בסקרים, מה יביא, מה לא. אני באמת לא יודע אם הייתה עסקה או לא עסקה. אבל סלח לי, אדוני, הכל קרה במשמרת שלך. הבן שלי נרצח במנהרה שאתה בנית במשמרת שלך.
Man, that is incredible, and I can't imagine the pain that man is feeling. The American citizen who was just killed by an Israeli sniper, what she's feeling, and the countless Palestinians who have lost their children, their parents, what they're feeling. And Netanyahu really doesn't like to be called out, Cenk. He doesn't like anyone speaking out in regard to his self-interest, the fact that he doesn't care about how many people died just so he can stay in power. So here's what he had to say to the rabbi you just heard from.
אני לא אספר לכם מה קרה בחדרי חדרים. זה גם לא כך מעניין.
היית די לבד. לבד.
מול כל העולם.
בדיוק. מול
נשיא ארצות הברית. גם כאן אנשים. להילחם ולהסביר, זה לא רק חמאס, זה לא רק חיזבאללה, זה נשק אטומי שהם יטילו פה על כולנו. אני נכנס יום יום לתוך החדר ושואל את עצמי, למה אתה כאן? בשביל מה אני כאן? למה? בשביל מה? ליהנות מנעמי השלטון?
איזה מנעמים?
לא עשית את זה 15 שנה, אל תבוא עכשיו אחרי שהם שמה לעשות את זה. 15 שנה ישבת בשקט, לא עשית כלום.
לא ישבתי בשקט.
ציידת אותם בחרבות. ציידת אותם במנהרות ודולרים. לא עשית כלום.
And that's true, this is well known. Benjamin Netanyahu did funnel money to Hamas, and he did so in order to discredit the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. I mean, he was open and honest about that, and I'm happy to see that there are Israelis who are calling him out on it.
Yeah, a lot to say about Netanyahu in a second. T. Freeman's one of our YouTube members, and they wrote, an IDF has a right to defend itself against troublesome Americans. So they're obviously being sarcastic, but that's where we are today now. And as for that Israeli rabbi that you just saw there, remember, family member, the last 11 months of their life was as a hostage in a tunnel with Hamas. So you blame Hamas for that, for taking them hostage in the first place, for not releasing them. But you also blame the Israeli government that has a ceasefire deal that they proposed, that Hamas accepted on July 2nd, that they then reneged on. So those hostages would definitely be alive if Netanyahu hadn't done that for his political career. And did you hear what Netanyahu said? I was alone in having to deal with the American president.
Can you imagine?
I'm sorry. Were we bothering you when we were sending you 26 billion once, 4 billion another time? So overall $30 billion. And we never stopped you from murdering over 40,000 Palestinians, over 25,000 innocent women and children. Now we're not stopping you from murdering American citizens. We're not taking $1 away from you, but you had to deal with an American president. How annoying.
Does Biden like to be dog walked?
Yes,
by a foreign leader like this?
Definitely, he doesn't care at all.
Like to be dog walked, made to be a little bitch for a foreign leader. Let's keep it real. That's what it is.
Of course, he's pathetic. He's walking around like just a pathetic servant of Israel. That ricocheting off the rock nonsense. Jesus Christ, man. All right, look, no one, all the people in Washington who are like these diehard Democrats who are gonna tell me about, no, Joe Biden was so great. He's accomplished so much and he's FDR 2.0. Save it. He's a terrible person. He has so much empathy, that's right, for the donors. If there's a giant donor in the room, he has all overflowing empathy for them. How can I lie on your behalf? How can I pleasure you? How can I do this or that? He was a terrible president, totally immoral, doesn't care about any human being that isn't a donor. I'm not interested in Biden, okay? But Biden, luckily now, is a morose old fool who's deeply senile and irrelevant. So now, will Kamala Harris change the position? No, she will go speak to Netanyahu. I had to speak to the American president for 5 minutes, and then I shooed them away. And look at all the things I've had to put up with. And then look at the outrageous lie. and they're gonna nuke us. Who's gonna nuke you? You just shot someone because they were sitting next to a person who earlier had thrown a stone at Israeli troops that were so far away, heavily armored. Now all of a sudden it's nukes? No, you're the one with the nukes. And by the way, comically still lying that they don't have nukes. Okay, so like it's just, guys, at this point, like so good-natured people, good folks ask me, hey, do you want to come to Israel? I'm like, are you nuts? I'm a Turkish American. How many Turkish Americans, have to be killed by Israel? There's ones in the past too on the Marmara boat, etc. How many Muslims have to get killed? How many Americans have to get killed? How many reporters have to get killed? No, look, let's put it this way. If I went to Israel and Israel executed me, the American government would do nothing. They wouldn't take a single dollar away. They would just go, oh, that is not acceptable, but we have immediately accepted it. So I'm not gonna get murdered by Israel in a total outlaw pariah country that is doing one of the worst genocides of our lifetime, funded by us. No, thank you. And you have to check look guys, at this point, Israel's above the law. The reason I won't go to the Gulf countries is because they're run by fundamentalists who are dictators. So you cannot hold them accountable. The Saudi prince chopped up a US journalist and had zero accountability, no consequences. As long as you're greasing our dirty, dirty politicians, you can murder Americans, you can murder journalists, all you like. So I'm not going to the Gulf countries, I'm not going to Israel, and you'd have to have your head examined to go do business with them, to do anything with them, because you could literally be murdered in Saudi Arabia or in Israel, and there'll be no consequences. The American government does not care about American citizens. The only thing they care about is lobbyist checks. The minute the check's clear, they'll let them kill you and totally get away with it. And by the way, you can see who's right and wrong. He says it's not acceptable. I say that what the real translation is, it's perfectly acceptable. Now see with your own eyes going forward, will they take away any money or have any real consequences for Israel, or won't they? And you will see there will be no consequences. It was in fact perfectly acceptable to murder, execute Americans and get away with it as long as you're Israel.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.